issued a statement on that. Just about 13 miles south of Mount Olive, moving northeast at 65 miles per hour. So it's really booking along. Penny-sized hail, winds gusting up to 50 miles an hour. Don?
No, I was just going to, they were also issuing that severe thunderstorm warning. National Weather Service also issuing a severe thunderstorm warning still in effect for Robeson County, and that is until 3:15 this afternoon with that southern cell as it continues to push on through the Lumberton area and pushing off to the east. But we're not seeing any tornadic signatures with that. Very heavy rainfall though going on as we look at the radar picture from Rocky Mount on down into portions of Wilson and just east of Smithfield, Goldsboro. You're going to see some heavy rainfall in the next 15 minutes as that line approaches both from the south and from the west. Clinton and Sampson County, that tornado warning remaining in effect, just about set to expire in the next couple of minutes. And as soon as it does, we will let you know. And
here's potentially some good news is that you remember we show you this velocity just to kind of pinpoint where we think the rotation is. And it was this area here that had the very apparent rotation with the reds and the greens getting very close to each other. And as Don said, that's what we call gate-to-gate shear. It just means that the radar is seeing air going away from and towards the radar side. It doesn't see the air, but it sees dust or birds even. Anything that's caught up in there, and it reflects or gets back to the radar site. We don't see those reds anymore. That's the good news. So it may be that this is weakening as it moves into sections of Duplin County. We don't see, as we lapse this, you can see the red there very distinct, making its way to the northeast across southern Sampson County. But we do have this area, which looks a little more concerning now over southern Sampson, that is making its way to the northeast, that has a little bit potentially of some rotation as well. So the tornado warnings remains in effect. This is in from the National Weather Service until 2:45 for central Sampson County.
They just canceled moments ago out of Wilmington. National Weather Service now expiring that tornado warning for Bladen. So
that's good news.
That is good news there.
So we have technically, it should be any moment now that the tornado warning is canceled for well, there it goes. It's off the radar site now. So no new warning is issued there for Sampson County, even though we have that cell. The radar operators at the National Weather Service in Raleigh not seeing anything that looks alarming enough for them, at least at this moment, to send off issue a tornado warning. But it doesn't mean, many times these types of storms, thunderstorms are pulse storms. And if we go over to weather too, Steve just pulled up something that is a little bit disturbing in that our tornado index. There you see it there under the little box up here on the top right, that BTI 7.8 for that storm that's now pushing into Sampson County, but no tornado warning. I would just advise folks in southern Sampson just to be on the standby in case a tornado warning is issued, because the operators of the radar at the National Weather Service in Raleigh are obviously monitoring it very, very closely, as we are, and they haven't issued a tornado warning, but a 7.8 is a really high number for that tornado index.
Absolutely. Yeah, we talked about how high it was on the 16th, and those were the numbers we were talking about. Again, that's just the likelihood that there is a tornado there. We just got another little bit of information that just popped on. They want to see if it has any different data. Nope, it's the same.
Yeah, and so some of those communities impacted, Steve, you can throw it back up there, sure. That may be impacted by this. It's not a warning, but there is at least a thunderstorm with potentially gusty winds. Taylor's Bridge, Turkey, Carroll, Warsaw, some of those communities as you make your way into southern Sampson County, and eventually, if it can hold together, into Duplin County. Right now, the only county anywhere close to our viewing area under any type of warning is Duplin County now for the storm that made its way across Sampson County. No reports of any damage anywhere in our viewing area from the tornado warnings that we did have for parts of Cumberland County, parts of Duplin, Sampson, and also into Bladen County. But no reports of any damage, but quite a bit of those. What you see there, it looks kind of a mess sometimes, to be honest, but that tells us, it gives us, that's a good sign there, the BTI of 5.3 going down. And then we look at the trends many times, whether that tornado index is going up or down. But certainly the radar takes the information, ingests it, and when you see those circles, that's just a sign of some type of rotation that may be there in the storm. But no tornado warnings in effect. If we go up one last look at weather 3, and you can see a line of showers and thunderstorms roughly along and east of Interstate 95. At the moment, there is a tornado warning for Duplin County. You want to stay safe there. That's until 3:15. No other warnings are in effect, but obviously we'll be watching it through the afternoon as that cold front approaches from the west. For now, though, we're going to send you back to regular programming. For Don Schwenniker and Steve Stewart, we thank you for keeping up with us this afternoon, and we'll let you know if anything else develops during the afternoon or early evening.
We interrupt this program for an ABC 11 Eyewitness News AccuWeather alert.
Hi, everybody. Chris Holman again, along with Steve Stewart. Sorry to interrupt your program again, but we talked about the storm in southern Sampson County that may cause another tornado warning to be issued, and that has happened. So here we go again. First alert Doppler XP. Same general area of southern Sampson County, a tornado warning in effect. This is the cell which Steve Stewart was showing us a little while ago, over sections of Bladen County, just around Elizabethtown, pushing to the northeast. And there it is now, where you see the greens and the reds. That's where there could be a tornado on the ground between Harrells and Garland. So again, from the National Weather Service, a tornado warning in effect for southeastern Sampson County until 3:30. A National Weather Service Doppler radar in ours 2 indicating a tornado 5 miles southeast of Garland. If you go over to weather 2, you can see almost like that classic hook echo. 5 miles southeast of Garland, moving northeast at 35 miles per hour. And there you see that that tornado index you see on that area there where the just under first alert Doppler XP, where Steve's sort of highlighting it. 8.4, a pretty good signature or indication that there is a tornado on the ground. These same areas just over and over, Steve, but Clear Run, Delway, Taylor's Bridge, Waycross, Concord, Magnolia, Carroll, these communities, Harrells, all in the path of this potential tornado. Hasn't been sighted, but at least indicated a fairly strong indication by radar of it moving off to the northeast. And you see that sheer 80 miles an hour. That's just, again, winds the changing direction, changing speed with height. In this case, it's the speed, but just a fairly strong, obviously very strong storm.
This is almost identical, same path that the one before it took. I mean, maybe a few miles, that's it.
Yeah, like they're on train tracks there,
right,
because
exactly.
It's moving almost exactly the same. That's the only area besides Duplin County that's under a tornado warning right now. The other areas to the south or to the north, you see here as Steve pulls back, or we go over to weather 3, a fairly solid line of thunderstorms across the coastal plain right now, pushing towards the east, but no warnings with that. There is, put on the lightning data, quite a bit of cloud to ground lightning. So if you're around Wilson, Tarboro, and Goldsboro, strong thunderstorms, very heavy rain. It looks ominous, and these are areas, Wilson and other spots, moving out of Johnston County, Wayne County, areas that got hit hard April 16th. Certainly the level of nervousness is high across the region, and rightfully so, but no warnings with that. I want to emphasize really a very localized event with these potential tornadoes down to the south. And there also is another tornado warning in effect now for, it looks like, Bladen County, again, for that storm that's pushing out of South Carolina towards the northeast. So that area there, it looks like just to the south, not Robinson County, but sections of County, tornado warning in effect as well. But the one that was just reissued, or another tornado warning issued, was for southern Sampson County, south of Clinton. And there you see it, this area of potential rotation there around the Harrells community. Now this moving northeast at 35 miles per hour, and on the velocity data, where we can actually see some rotation, the pictures come in every few minutes. So really this could actually be a little bit to the northeast of there. Just say here's where we see it now, but if it's moving northeast at 35, it could actually be over this region right now to the north of Harrells. So anywhere in southern Sampson County, especially near and northwest of Harrells, you want to go ahead, take cover. Again, you know the routine, go to the lowest 4. This is Highway 421, and it's right over that intersection of 421 and Highway 1003, probably right over that. If there is a tornado, that's where it would be right about now as it moves off to the northeast at 35 miles per hour. So you want to go ahead. That tornado index is up a bit again, so it's certainly, we don't often see, many times when we've had tornadoes on the ground, go over to weather 2, we've had tornadoes on the ground with much lower numbers than that. It doesn't mean there is a tornado, but as you can see, Steve, that classic hook echo again, right in there where you see there may be a tornado wrapping, that's rain wrapping around potentially a tornado.
Yeah, when you see a lot of this, we call it that hook, you get such strong winds pushing in, it actually pushes the rain shield back. So we get that hook there, and a lot of times at the tail end of it, we're not seeing it right now, but sometimes it's not rain, it's actually debris, but we're not seeing that at least I'm not looking at this. It's still rain.
And the good news is, we haven't had any reports of any damage so far, much less injuries, which is excellent news. But certainly, any time a tornado warning is issued, we want to take it seriously and take cover, especially in light. This is what's left of the storm system, which you'll be hearing about for days to come, of the epic outbreak that has occurred over the last 24 hours across the deep south and the eastern U.S. Go over to Weather 3, and you can see again this potential tornado. No confirmation, but it's in southern Sampson County. So if you're anywhere around Harrah's, east of Garland, you want to take cover as this moves quickly into sections of Duplin County, probably, and that tornado warning for them may be extended. But this is the cold front back out here to the west, which has again been responsible, this cold front now approaching Greensboro and Charlotte, for just incredible damage and unheard of fatalities, at least in 40 years. Last check, 250 people killed across the deep south and even into Virginia and Kentucky and Tennessee by this record-setting outbreak. You have to go back to 1974 to see an outbreak worse than what we're experiencing, and we're not done yet. It may come close to that super outbreak of 1974, where there were 138 tornadoes and over 300 fatalities across the central U.S. from the Gulf Coast into Canada. And this is the cold front responsible for that. We're lucky that, in the sense, we're not bearing the brunt of it. We're getting off fairly easily, it looks like, but we do have some concerns with this storm. If we go to Weather 2, Steve's got where there may be even some hail with this storm. Yeah,
the likelihood of hail is very likely, and now it looks like the hail could be potentially golf ball size, or maybe at least quarter size hail that we're seeing with this as well. And a lot of times that does happen with a tornado. You get the hail first, and then at the very tail end of that storm, that's when we have the possible tornado. I'm going to switch it back and let's look at that classic hook echo we've been seeing. And I got a new BTI number in. We're going to check out that, Chris, and see what that says. It's still the same. That really hasn't changed in the last 15 minutes. So that's a strong indication that potentially could be a tornado on the ground. If you live in these communities we've been talking about, which almost identical, Delway, you need to take shelter immediately. And boy, you could have had a tornado that moved by Delway in just an hour ago, and almost the same path. Here comes the second one.
Yeah, and that has happened before, where some towns have been hit by a tornado, and we haven't gotten any reports of the first storm producing any damage, which is great news. But it does happen occasionally where these storms train over the same area, and you get a tornado on the ground in the same spot in just a short amount of time. This just in from the National Weather Service. Deputy reported a large funnel cloud not yet on the ground near Clear Run School Road off Highway 411. This was at 2:51, just about 9 minutes ago. This is 6 miles east-southeast of Garland. So it shows a very classic the signature there, and that's the area that obviously you need to take cover. Those regions around Waycross, Harrah's, anywhere in eastern sections of Sampson County, southeastern sections. The tornado warning actually has been whittled down just a little bit there across areas of south of Clinton, but a very, very strong signature with that storm. Go over to Weather 3. You can see it again, another view of that storm across southeastern Sampson County, and there it is. We'll show on the velocity data and put on some of the roadways too, and that is a really strong signature. A funnel cloud just 9 minutes ago, not on the ground. So what we see is the rotation. We can't confirm it's on the ground until somebody sees it, or we get reports of some damage. But it is approaching, or right now moving right over this area here of Sampson County, Highway 421, and same spots we've been talking about, Highway 1003. And again, these pictures are a few minutes old at times. We get updates every few minutes, so it could easily be more in the area to the east of there, passing that region. But right on the Sampson and Duplin County line, this at least funnel cloud reported just a few moments ago by a deputy in Sampson County.
I think you're right on that, because I just checked and they've upped the speed to 45-mile-an-hour movement. So, boy, that signature's getting stronger.
Yeah,
as you lapse it. So.
Right. Yeah, there you see it moving out of Bladen County into southern Sampson County, and it really, really shows a really strong signature right there. And again, moving it, Steve said, at 45 miles per hour. So it's probably getting very close to, if it hasn't already, jumped over into Duplin County. This is what we call the reflectivity, which is just the showing the storm itself. And there's the latest view. And if there is a tornado on the ground, it probably is either very close to or already passing into Duplin County, Steve.
I think you're right. especially when we've been seeing these moving so fast, even if it's not touching the ground, we can still be seeing some wind damage with this storm, potentially gusts to 70 miles an hour, even at the surface.
Right, and sometimes funnel clouds that don't make contact with the ground can still clip some trees and do some damage that way too. So not out of the woods yet, but if you are in Harrells, more than likely you are, because the storm is north of you and making its way very quickly into Duplin County. So this tornado warning probably won't last until 3:30. I think the National Weather Service will let it go before that. Until then, very dangerous situation though with this storm as it pushes to the northeast into Duplin County. So extreme eastern sections of Sampson County still under the tornado warning, and we have to watch these storms too. They keep coming out of South Carolina. This is over Columbus County now, and there is a tornado warning in effect for that. For the we'll put on the Wilmington radar, because this storm could potentially, if it can hold together, impact southern Sampson County again down the road. Believe it or not, hopefully it'll take the lightning off, and you'll be able to see. There it goes. This storm here, which has prompted a tornado warning for parts of Columbus County into southern sections of Bladen County. And we put on the, this is the Wilmington radar, and don't see as much. There is that area there with some rotation there in parts of Columbus County. Not quite as impressive as it was or is over sections of Sampson County. But we just want to keep you on the alert just in case that can hold together. It could make its way into southern Sampson, into the next little bit. Around the rest of the viewing area, the threat is very low. These storms have been very persistent here across parts of Wilson County into Wayne County, and they've been very heavy rain. Rainfall rates 2-3 inches per hour, but no severe weather with that. It's been confined mainly to the south, extreme southern sections of our viewing area.
And this, as we've been saying, this one is almost all the way across Sampson County that fast. It is really traveling. And right now, like you said, Harrell's pretty much out of the woods now, at least with this one, unless, like you said, Chris, the next one comes into play. But the BTI, I just clicked on it. This is the new one that just came in over on Weather 2, and 8.6. It's still suggesting, you can see where that hook is, that classic hook we've been talking about right here, potentially 8.6, which is very high on our tornado scale index. And what a strong signature we are still seeing there with the storm. And again, it's racing across Sampson County. Now it's into Bladen County.
Yeah, it looks like it is. So the tornado warning for Sampson County, I would imagine, will be let go before 3:30. But it's still, even if the tornado has made its way into sections of Duplin County, certainly there's still some very heavy rain and potentially strong damaging winds in parts of extreme southeastern Sampson County that are still under that tornado warning in this area north of Harrells, right around Waycross in Sampson, right on the Sampson and Duplin County line. So you want to stay safe. That's on Weather 3. You can see the area there of the very heavy rain. The potential tornado could be on the ground, but the tornado warning still, this is for the National Weather Service, still in effect for southeastern Sampson County. Tornado near Harrells or 14 miles west of Wallace, moving northeast at 40. It will remain over mainly rural areas of Sampson County, which is great news. But there are people in rural areas, so we want to just keep you safe just in case. But it looks like it will be very shortly. It is probably in the last minute or two if there was a tornado. Again, the funnel's been recited, but no tornado reported on the ground, moving into sections of Duplin County. So if you are in Duplin County, just to the east of Waycross, you want to take cover, because that storm probably impacting you as it moves off towards the northeast at about 40 miles per hour. And the only other tornado warning that we have in effect is for sections of Bladen County, Elizabethtown down to the south. The rest of the region, very heavy rain. Raleigh, Durham, Fayetteville, really no problems. Probably won't see many more. This cold front will swing through. It's near Greensboro, but pressing slowly eastward. It's the front responsible for all of the devastation across the deep south, but it'll swing through the next few hours, and that will end the threat of severe weather for all of the U.S. Later this evening and overnight, and everybody will get a chance to breathe a sigh of relief. You know, we've had, Steve, a couple of days. We had a little bit of severe weather yesterday, and then of course today, but across the deep south, that storm system, that front sat over the central U.S. for 5 days,
right.
And the folks there were just hammered day after day with flooding rains, tornadoes, hail, day after day. Never seen anything like it. And then it saved its biggest punch for when it began to move. Another storm system formed on the front, and we had the just epic devastation across the deep south into Virginia with the almost unheard of fatalities for this day and age. It's been 40 years since you go back to see anything similar to this, and there's still searching for victims, trying to rescue people, and you're going to be hearing a lot about just the track country.
It really is. And then when you look at the fact that, hey, we still have the entire month of May to go for severe weather season. We got a long way to go, potentially more, strong storm days like this. If we could go to weather 2 really quick, I've tilted this up just a little bit just to show you where the rotation is moving into Bladen County right now. And look at all the lightning strikes. It is not only are we dealing with the wind, but this is a significant amount of lightning with each of these cells that have moved on by. I'm going to switch it back to the normal view here, the more traditional view, and take off some of those spinning, we call these shear markers that helps us out. We are losing a bit of that classic hook echo, but watch what happens when I go back to my velocities. I still have a very strong signature right now indicating rotation. Again, away from Delway and moving off to the northeast between 35 and 45 miles an hour. We've been getting different reports on that speed, but again, it's now moving into Bladen County, which is out of our viewing area, but we're going to stay with this storm as long as we are seeing it. Chris, you got some more information?
Yeah, National Weather Service in Wilmington continuing that tornado warning for Bladen County until 3:30. Doppler radar indicating a possible tornado north of Chadbourne. A dangerous storm. Law enforcement has reported hail up to the size of baseballs near Chadbourne, which we don't see here very often. Steve, you used to live in Colorado, and you know Colorado is sort of the hail capital, or one of the spots in the U.S. where hail is very common that size. We don't see that. Baseball-sized hail near Fairbluff, too. This storm moving northeast at 45. So that tornado warning for Bladen County until 3:30, and the one for Sampson County, also southeastern Sampson, that's in effect.
Look at that.
Until 3:30.
I got it right now. I saw 3-inch plus hail. So that would, the radar suggests it, and now we're getting ground truth from it saying, I didn't know we got baseball-sized hail in North Carolina.
It's very rare. I've seen it. I've seen it a couple of times. Not seen it personally, but we've had reports of it here ever so often. But it's typically more of the golf ball is pretty big for us.
And golf ball can damage your vehicle and it can hurt you. So this size of hail, boy, goodness, get to safety immediately.
Now you see the tornado warning for, if we go over to weather 3, the tornado warning for Sampson County has really been whittled down. It's barely anybody left in it there. Extreme eastern Sampson County, southeastern Sampson County under that tornado warning until 3:30. I think the National Weather Service in Raleigh will probably cancel it before 3:30. But everybody, us here, the National Weather Service in Raleigh, and all the Weather Service offices up and down the East Coast are being extra vigilant with these storms because of what has happened. It has just been an incredible outbreak across the country the last few days, and they just don't want to let anything go, in terms of keeping people safe. So that tornado warning, and we do too, tornado warning until 3:30 for extreme eastern sections of Sampson County. We also have the areas to the east here, into Duplin County too. You folks in the path of that storm across sections of Duplin County, that storm that was in Sampson County making its way to the northeast at about 45 miles per hour. So again, a new report in the Columbus County law enforcement reports hail the size of baseballs, golf ball to baseball sized hail on Alfred Hayes Drive near Andrew Jackson Highway. And again, that's in sections of, that's in Columbus County, which is well out of our viewing area, but still a testament to the strength of these storms. But the rest of the region, vast majority of our viewing area is pretty much in the clear in terms of any widespread severe weather. You see the storms beginning to make their way out of Wilson County, or at least eastern Wilson County. It's still storming. Also into much of Wayne. Very heavy rain. Could be torrential rains causing at least some minor flooding, and the cloud-to-ground lightning. We put that on. You see there is quite a bit of cloud-to-ground lightning too. This front, there's nothing with the front itself back out here to the west around Greensboro. We won't rest easy. We won't just completely just write this off until the front goes through. Right. Because of the history of it. It's just been an incredible storm system.
The storm system that is farther to the south we've been talking about, it might clip extreme southern Sampson County, but the folks that have been rocked a couple of times already are happy to hear that. Yeah. But Bladen County, again, that cell potentially does have a tornado in the BTI at a 5.1, and the one that's now leaving Sampson County and pushing into Bladen County, still, Chris, a BTI of 8.1. And that's been in the 8s for the last 35 minutes, which is extremely high.
Yeah, we really don't see that. We've had this tornado index for a few years, and we've had tornadoes on the ground with a tornado index of 5, 6, those kinds of numbers. So when you see an 8, it really catches your eye. But so far, we still don't have any reports of a confirmation of a tornado on the ground with that storm over Sampson County, which is good news. No reports of any injuries, no reports of any damage, and really a very small area of Sampson County now under that tornado warning there. You see just north of Harrell's, and I think the danger really has passed in that area because most of the storm now, if you are in Duplin County though, you definitely want to take cover and be safe. This area here to the south and east of Turkey here in Bladen County, these are the areas that are really under the gun now with this potential tornado that has been producing at least a signature. Now the signature not quite as impressive. There you see it going right across out of Sampson County into sections of Duplin County, and it isn't quite as impressive on the velocity there. You don't see the reds as much as you used to when we lapse that moving across there. You see a lot of red butting up against the green. Don't see that as much, Steve, but still in Duplin County, certainly want to stay indoors, stay safe until that storm passes, and then this all is shifting very gradually off to the east, and the threat of severe weather will be over, and we can enjoy what looks to be a beautiful weekend coming up.
Absolutely, we'll be looking forward to that. Now there are other areas, you know, that do have some strong storms. As Chris said, they are not severe at this point in time, but from Mount Olive to Goldsboro, if you live in that area, you might be scared with you hearing a lot of thunder outside, and the wind is howling, and we're getting some very heavy rain. We're not seeing rotation in that though. I just looked through there. I couldn't find any rotation, Chris, so good news between Mount Olive and Goldsboro, at least as far as tornadic winds are concerned. I wouldn't be surprised though if you're feeling gusts in that area upwards of 40 miles an hour though with these thunderstorms, and boy, is that heavy rain, and it's been training in the same area, so could see some minor flooding between Wilson and Goldsboro and Mount Olive.
Yeah, these are some of the rain totals. I think that the radar is trying to catch up on some of those numbers. But those rainfall rates, again, very high, Steve, on the order of 1, 2, 3+ inches per hour in some spots with that. But no warnings with any of that, as you mentioned. It's all fairly quiet in terms of any severe weather. We're going to throw it to ABC News. President Obama speaking about the tragedy that occurred across the Deep South and the East Coast overnight and this morning.
The worst that we've seen in decades. Took mothers and fathers, sons and daughters, friends and neighbors, even entire communities. Others are injured, and some are still missing. And in many places, the damage to homes and businesses is nothing short of catastrophic. We can't control when or where a terrible storm may strike, but we can control how we respond to it. And I want every American who has been affected by this disaster to know that the federal government will do everything we can to help you recover, and we will stand with you as you rebuild. I've already spoken to the governors of Alabama, Virginia, Mississippi, Tennessee, and Georgia, and I've let them know that we are ready to help in any possible way. I've declared a state of emergency in Alabama so that we can make all necessary resources available to that state. I've dispatched Federal Emergency Management Agency Administrator Craig Fugate to Alabama so that he can personally work with state and local officials. And I will travel myself to Alabama tomorrow to meet with those leading the response efforts, as well as the families who are reeling from this disaster. I also want to commend all the men and women who've been working around the clock for the last few days to save the lives of their friends and neighbors and to begin the long work of rebuilding these communities. These police officers, firefighters, EMTs, and other emergency responders are heroes, and they have the thanks of a grateful nation. And we pray for their success, and we stand with every American affected by this disaster in the days and weeks to come. Hi, everybody. Chris Holman here again. President Obama speaking on the epic tornado outbreak across the Deep South and parts of the East Coast, and you'll be obviously hearing much more about that. Good news, tornado warning canceled for Sampson County, still one for Bladen County, Elizabethtown to the south, and a line of storms pushing eastward, but that's it, no other warning. So we're going to send it back to regular programming. Steve Stewart and I here monitoring the situation. We'll let you know, and Don Schwenniker let you know if any more severe thunderstorm tornado warnings pop up. And we'll keep you covered through the afternoon. See you on Eyewitness News at 5.